Hi, everybody. How are you? I think my dog wants to say hi. Give me 1 second. Come here. Okay. Hi, everyone. Okay. They can't see you that way. All right. Hi, everybody. Okay. Let me see. Cancel. Hi. Okay. Let me say hi to everybody. Hi, Robin, Z, Evie, Simply JJ, Shelling, AGL, Evie, Angel Star, Dodger Girl, Darren, Robin, Shelling, Reg, MLB, Carmi, Kathleen, CP, A Brown, OSP, From Cali with Love, Sarah, Sinri, Seda, Angel Star, Lorena. Oh, Dodger Girl is also on Twitch, and Lorena. BTS Paved the Way is on X. Hi. Joe, 185 Reese. Good afternoon. Didi, Nancy. Hi, Seda, Shelling, TLT, Nicole, Rhea, Dawn Marie, Nikon Lady, Norisa, Marian, Kathy, Leah, Bettina, Cat Dreaming is also on X. Hi. There's more X people ever since I made it earlier. Uh, ta- 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 Nicole, Donna, Jelma, Alta, Dion, Prince of Hawar. Watch, wow, Jordan, hi. Oh, I think you're the first person who's actually spoke up from Jordan. Maybe there are other viewers from Jordan. You're the first one who actually said hi. Purple Haze, Leslie, Taylor, Kathy. Okay. Just the tea. Okay. I think I've said hi to everybody. And then here's my dog. He's all better now. Tell them, baby, I'm all better now. Tell them I can play by Thursday. Yay! Thursday, play by Thursday. It's very like apparent that he really misses playing because he's been so, but he's been a good boy for somebody who's so used to playing almost every day. And then I am not giving him any, what do you call that, to relax him. I'm not giving him anything outside of the, well, I guess the pain reliever or the antibiotics might be sort of lowering his energy, and it's probably causing him some dizziness or something like that. But he's been a good boy even though he hasn't been playing. But it's very obvious whenever we go out and he sees some of his playmates, he would always try to play with them. But of course I have to stop him because like he can't. So but I think by the vet said that I just need to send him a picture by Wednesday. But the wound is all healed. It's closed, it's nothing. um and then he said that once he sees how it looks like, then we're clear to play. What did I miss? I just said hi to everybody. No sedatives, yeah, no sedative for him. So this, despite that, he's been good. New camera, no. Is it? I don't have my lights on. Is it too dark? Wait, there. Is that brighter? It's just actually a lamp. I don't have like a professional light in front of me. It's just a lamp. Okay. Hi everybody. We have a lot to talk about. So where do you want to start? Like give me my let me get my fan because it's okay. I hope this doesn't you won't mind the sound, the buzzing or whatever. Let me know if it bothers you. Does the sound bother you? Okay, I just gave everybody thank you. Hello. It's still my banks are still not long enough, but whatever. I don't care anymore. Okay, it's going over to YouTube. Twitch is lagging for me. Okay. Hand hi, hi, hi. No, you don't hear. Need that podcasting ring light long. I know. Yeah, I don't have this just like a literal like table lamp. That is the only thing that um the that I have. Okay, so I have news and updates. We're gonna talk about German charts, BTS, along with other K-pop acts, IFPI predictions on what BTS is going to do. Um, where do you want to start? Do you want to start with IFPI? Do you want to start with We Never Noticed That Fanfare Lane? Thank you. Okay, good. BTS. Not me. BTS, BTS, BTS. I need BTS news. Okay, let's do news and updates first then. Okay, so K-pop news and updates, and then we'll go BTS, we'll go IFPI, and then okay, prediction. All right, let's do news and updates and then go into predictions. How's that? Okay, let me change what BTS is going to do. IFPI, please, BTS hints. All of you wants BTS hints. Okay, let's do BTS hints. Where is my BTS hints? Oh, there you go. BTS, BTS. Okay. All right, let's go to predictions. This is not what I want. There you go. Okay, let's go to predictions. This is just a recap of some of the things that they not really well some they hinted and then other things they've mentioned in the past that they are going to do either them or the agency. Some yeah, some are hints and then some are just analysis based on what's happening, based on trends or patterns. And then some are just like hearsay in the event industry. And these are rumors. So I can't, I like, rumors in the event industry. Um, that's sort of the music entertainment industries where I work at. Like that's my world. And so every now and then I would hear like, oh, this, something. Okay, so let's do BTS first. Okay. So in their last live stream, I just caught something very interesting outside of the boom mic. So I do think that they recorded something, or maybe it is, as we know, BTS and Big Hit has this pattern. I think Hype in general, they have a pattern where they just try to record as much as they can. And Suga actually mentioned that. I remember that him mentioning that to Sai when he went to rehearse for that and Sai was asking like what are all these cameras and he said we're just trying to record as much as we can for future use. So they have the habit where even if they don't really plan on doing anything, they have stuff with them. They have cameras and whatever. And in that live, I did catch, I think many others also caught the boom mic. So definitely they were recording something. But also, Jungkook's jacket, I think the inside has a lapel mic. So there might be something there. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they're just going to use it for behind the scenes or whatever, but they're definitely doing something there. And then I'll discuss another connection that some people actually found maybe helpful. But the other thing is one conversation that um, Jungkook and V had, which actually started with Jimin, when Jimin said that he wanted to he really, really wanted to spoil something. And Jungkook was like, let's spoil it when it's final or something like that. And then they said something like the sun's about to come up and then you see it, I see it, don't fight it, don't fight. So I think That's kind of like a lyrics from a song, right? So I'm thinking maybe they're spoiling a line or two on their album. And I think it is similar to, it could probably the same song that Jimin was actually mentioning when he did a live stream with Jungkook. When he said that, when Jungkook said that, or our song is final, maybe we should like actually spoil it. And Jimin sort of nudged it behind. So just he didn't pay attention to it. It could be this same song. So I don't know. Let's see if that's going to appear anywhere in any future releases. Then I guess it was a spoiler, but I think it was a spoiler. And then the other thing is that V actually have he has posted several times a picture with Peggy. What's her name? This it's this. She's a DJ, Peggy Gao, and she's a DJ and a producer. And they've posted several pictures together several times already. And then one of the pictures that stood out was V in the studio with her. So I'm thinking, and this was way before the group went to LA to start working on the album. So my thinking is that this is actually not a group thing. Maybe this is something that he has been working on his own, and it could be released August, because he did say that something good is going to come to to armies on August, that he's going to, that there's something for armies in August. Now people are speculating it could be the MLB appearance. I don't think that's all it is. Um so it could be like a solo release. Maybe he's going to release something, or I don't know. Maybe he's going to include it in the BTS album, maybe, but for sure he's doing something in the studio with her, and it seems that he's doing it on his own, not with any BTS member. Okay, next. Okay, give me 1 second because someone's okay. So yeah, let's see what he's going to be coming up with. Maybe that this is the thing that he's been talking about that he will be dropping for BTS, for armies on August. So that's her. She's a pretty good DJ, by the way. So and she's pretty popular. So I'm not surprised that V would actually want to work with her. And I always had V has always been the one that has always like he has this tendency to kind of work outside of the group. I mean, his first album was with Minhee, so I think he like experimenting in general. So there's a possibility that this is a solo project. It could be something that I don't know. Maybe he would want to include it in their releases. Who knows? And then this is Charlie Perth. I know that a lot of armies apparently don't like him. I don't know why, but this is the same studio that Jungkook used for the recording of his Golden album. So it's kind of familiar. It's either he's going to feature in one of the songs, or he's working on a song as a producer and a composer, because as you know, he's also a producer and a songwriter. So let's see but there's something there. Okay. Next, as long as she's not another Mama Roach. Okay, No More Dream. I don't know if you remember this, but in the closing of On, No More Dream turned into Dream. And then, as we know, things sort of just got messed up from then on because of the pandemic. They suddenly had to stop doing things. And then they made a decision, even before the pandemic, they made a decision to cut the trilogy of Map of the Soul into two. So maybe that sort of affected the narrative that they were going to tell. But with On, if you would remember, from No More, the last screen went from No More Dream to Dream. So I don't know if they're going to answer that or continue that, but that is one of the, I think it's probably one of the only, or one of the few hints they drop that they never actually explained. And I think, as I've said, it's primarily because things changed, things beyond their control. One of which is that they had to cut their trilogy into two albums because they decided originally the plan was for them to do individual projects before they enlist. And the other thing is that suddenly they had to stop everything because of the pandemic. So let's see if they're actually going to give this a payoff. But they left us hanging. So let's see. Next is that in the short film of uh, of The Most Beautiful Moment in Life, the prologue, it was released October 1, 2015. And as you know, Bang Hyuk has mentioned that they are going to celebrate the 10th anniversary of The Most Beautiful Moment in Life. So maybe October 2025. So let's see if they're going to release something. My guess is that they will. And I think that's just right around the time when that sort of gives them enough time to work on something, or to finish something, actually, to finish something from, because they came here July, right? Or at least some of them, and then go out on, I mean, they leave and then come back. But basically, July is when they first came here. And so 3 4 months is kind of a good length to work on something, especially if it's like a big thing, an anniversary presentation, like a project for The Most Beautiful Moment in Life. But the prologue was actually released October 1, 2015. So it would be interesting if they do release something on October 2025. And I think they will, because they've been mentioned. I mean, both them and Bang Hyuk have mentioned that they are going to celebrate the anniversary of The Most Beautiful Moment in Life. And they should, because that's really what catapulted them into fame. That's what started everything. So, um, okay, so this is the first time, the Bloomberg interview of Bang Shiok. This is the first time when he formally announced that they are going to celebrate the anniversary of The Most Beautiful Moment in Life. And in this interview, if you haven't watched it, it's still up on YouTube, and you should, because it's a really, really good interview. He provided a lot of insights, business insights, marketing insights. He talked about BTS and stuff. But in here, he said that they are going to celebrate it. He said the lead into that was the contract negotiation of BTS. So he didn't say the term, how long they extended. And I think I've mentioned to you that word on the street is that it's not really time bound, the contract of BTS. But I've never seen their contract, by the way. So these are all talks. So he mentioned that BTS, he's very thankful that BTS actually renewed their contract, and he said that if BTS didn't renew their contract with Big Hit, BTS would still be celebrating the 10th anniversary of The Most Beautiful Moment in Life, just not with Big Hit. He said they will still continue the anniversary, just not with Big Hit. The Yeah, the celebration of the anniversary. So that's it's pretty good that it is actually an idea that came from BTS, or at least something that BTS really bought into. At least that's what he is implying. um so okay, so that, but please watch this interview because it's really very interesting. There is, the guy beside him is a translator. Okay, so, but I think he is able to fact check the translation because he speaks English. So, so that's a good thing. Okay. Next is that, okay, this is a prediction that I have. One of the things that is lacking in the entire Bangtan universe for The Most Beautiful Moment in Life is the closure for the actors, for the characters. It's, I think it's nothing short of genius that they all decided um they are going to do something that, sorry, that they didn't have any closure. I think it's a good sign that the entire concept of The Most Beautiful Moment in Life actually lends itself to sort of bottomless, countless possibilities, essentially because it is time loop, because it's time travel. Anybody can make their own version, and it would seamlessly integrate into their Bangtan universe. I don't know if people actually have realized that, because it's time travel. Essentially, if you're a fan, for example, and if you want to write your own version of their time travel, of their own your own version of the story, you can, and it would still seamlessly integrate for as long as your ending is for them to go back into where they started. So I think that's just a genius move for all of them. But still, in this timeline that they are pursuing, especially with the TV show Youth Begins, they actually never gave us any kind of closure. So I think at some point, that's one of the things that they might do, give us some sort of a closure on these characters, but still open the possibility of another narrative. Because as I've said, since it's time travel, you can essentially create your own version. They would still be able to integrate that into their universe, and that's probably a UGC that they should pursue. If I am Big Hit, I would pursue that. Just ask fans to create your own versions of what happened, and then pick and choose the best ones, because that I mean that would be a first for you to just give the fans a chance to actually create their own version, and everything is valid, right? And at the end of it, it would still be their version, Big Hit's version, BTS's version, that would be the prevailing narrative. But each time, each version would still be valid. I hope they do that. But at least I think one of the things that they might want to do is to give each character a closure of some sort. Okay. Um Next. So they might do an October release for the most beautiful moment in life, and maybe a special show for the 10th anniversary. I don't know if it's going to be digital. I hope not. Maybe they can do like an in person, and it doesn't have to be like an actual concert, right? Just an in person event. And if they do that, I hope they do it at least in two or three continents: Asia, Korea, Asia, the US, and maybe one in Europe. Although the biggest hindrance to that would be, of course, they are preparing for a concert, right? If if they do something in October and they're going to release an album March, let's just say March, then that means that they are going to be interrupted with their work. But I think they're going to do something on October. Other things to consider, and this we will be touching on when we go to news and updates, is that there are certain groups that I think are still trying to release their album right around the same time they are going to release theirs. So um there's some sort of like moves to try and do that, to ride on their coattails. So okay, next. I think each member will release a special project, either as a warm up to their album or as a filler while armies wait for their album. So all right. So is there anybody who's actually spamming? Let me know. Who's spamming? Let me know in the comment section, or send me a message on X or on Patreon. Who's that spammer? Okay, next is that. So that might happen either as a warm up for their release, or just because they want to fill our time while we wait, because that's a long time. Okay. Um I for sure they have been doing Christmas releases for the longest time. Every Christmas, at least one member is going to release something, either a cover or a song just for armies. I think 2019, was that 2019 or 20? When was that? When V, Jimin, and one more actually released a Christmas song. So I think they're going to do that, and I think it's all because they are trying to give us something while we wait. So you know them, right? They kind of like, they're always thinking, looking at things from the point of view of armies, and I think they kind of know that we're just here, just waiting for something. And I think they're going to give us something for December. Okay. Um, so there are talks that they might do semi-residencies in select areas. And when I say semi-residency, I mean semi. I'm not talking about like staying in one place for a year. It's just that they're going to be staying in certain locations longer, strategic locations longer. So instead of your 2 or 3 nights, they might do more. The way that they did Permission to Dance, right? Permission to Dance, I think they did 4 in SoFi and 4 in Vegas. So something like that. They might do something like that. Why? Okay. So all right. So that's another discussion that's just this is word on the street. And there are certain the thing about certain venues is that even if you know somebody inside, they can tell you because it's so confidential. They can tell you like, "Oh, there's someone who booked this and that," but they won't be able to necessarily tell you who it is. Because a lot of the times the reservations are done under a code, right? And so unless you know that code, you will not know who it is that's reserving. Or unless you're the person that's actually taking the reservation. But when you are, the thing is that when you are a big agency or a big act and you're making a reservation, those are not taken care of by the sales associate or whatever. Those are usually discussions between executives because that's a big act. Right? Like if for example, just for example, Beyonce and Taylor Swift reserving SoFi, their people won't be talking to the sales associate, they'll be talking to executives because there's a lot more preparation. The payment structure is actually different, and I will be discussing that in my members only live stream. So there's it's very complicated. So normally they won't actually reserve that with they won't be going through like the channels for mere mortals. They're going to go through executives. So even if people are actually seeing the names of those, the types of reservations that are being made, they really won't know what it is or who it is unless they are the executive or they know that the code that is being used. So when you hear something on X saying that, oh, I'm in the events industry and I know that they booked this, blah, 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 take it with a grain of salt. Okay. All right. Next. One is that I think forever is going to be a keyword for their comeback. Because I remember seeing they wrote something for the most beautiful moment in life and it said 2015 to forever or something like that. So maybe maybe that's a um maybe that's a keyword that they're going to be using. Okay. All right. So those are some of the predictions. There are more specific ones which I will reserve for the members only live stream because I'm going to get a lot of people in trouble if I so I'll do that in the members only live stream. But so far those are the ones that I picked up. Okay. Um any any questions? Do you have any questions? Who's Veronica? What is he? What is happening? Talk to me. What is the discussion about? I'm not repeating myself. I'm talking to other people. I'm taking accountability because somebody tattletale on me. What is it? What are you talking about? Okay. Somebody sent me a message. Um okay, so whatever the discussion is that's going on, I just request everybody to concentrate on what I'm talking about. And if you can put the conversation aside so that we can continue. Okay. Um all right. So Any question before I go on to the next topic? Okay, Veronica, what is your question? You said that you have a question. Ask it to me. What is it that you want to ask? All right, I'll wait for your answer, but while I wait, I will proceed to the next topic. What is it that you want to talk about next? IFPI, or do you want to do news and updates, or do you want to do the charts? Thanks, Fairly and Sure. Beside Weverse and here, is there a site we can go to know the real BTS promos? Um, you can go to all of their official sites. I mean official social media sites. Weaver X, IG, Facebook, that's it. And then if you want to do, you can also go to their website, Hybe website, and then they have a portion. Okay, I'll show it to you now. Give me 1 second. I'll share this with you. Okay. If you go to their website, you will be able to go to the newsroom, go there, and then you can set announcement. And then from there, you can go press or notice. Sorry, are you seeing it? Yeah. Okay. So you go to hybecorp.com and it has an English version. And then go to newsroom, go to announcement, press or notice, and you will see all of the press release that they are writing. This is the press release that they are sending to everybody else, and they're actually putting it here. So that's one. And then the other one, the best source is still Weavers because they're faster there. Even for like small activities, they're able to put it up there. Other than that, I will say practice caution. There are a lot of websites, a lot of social media accounts that are dedicated to distributing the information accurately. Um, so go to those sites, but be very, very careful. And I will actually be touching on that in the news and updates because there is this big issue about concert attendance. Um, as you know, there are two, I would say, like, they are authority. I guess they're the closest to an authority as we can have when it comes to concert attendance, concert income revenue, that is touring data, and Billboard, and then Polestar as well. And then there's this new account on X that started talking, they started releasing estimates of concert attendance and whatever. And they admitted that they are a fan account and they seem to be working really hard, and I appreciate that. It's just that um it's a fan account. So unless you have some official reports, then there'll be a lot of questions as to how you're doing it. So just know that I'm not saying that what they are reporting is wrong. It's just that it's going to raise a lot of issues if you can't even answer some basic procedural things. Okay, so that's the answer to your question. All right, let's go. What was it? IFPI? Did you want IFPI or the chart? IFPI. Veronica. All right. So just I'm not following the chat because I'm trying to present. Like people here are here because they wanted to hear the stuff that I said I'll be talking about. So if you just want to ask your question, go ahead and ask it and I'll try to answer that. Okay. Let's go to IFPI. All right. It's not an official source, right? Okay, so this has been released March. Actually, I just haven't spoken about it yet. But there's a lot of interesting, and the one that this version that I am going to present to you, this is what they presented to the public. But usually, they have a separate one that they release to all the studios and the labels. So that I think I will reserve to the members only, but this one has enough for us to talk about. It's really very interesting. And the first thing that actually stood out to me is how they're so heavy for 2024. They're so heavy on record labels. Like, look at the section 1, section 2, and section 3. It's all about record labels. Like, record labels help power artists to success. Record labels are powering innovation. Record labels are powering global cultures and economies. And I'm like, okay, let's cater to record labels. So it was just, I can't, exactly, Veronica, I can't scroll up. If you want to, if you can please just paste your question again. I can't scroll up. It's too many, and I'm trying to make a presentation. So if you can just paste it again. Okay. All right. So it's just one of the things that it just stood out to me is that it's so heavy on record labels, and I feel like, of course, I'm not gonna question their intention, right? IFPI is one of the most credible sources that we have when it comes to record label industries. It's just that this is the first time I've seen them talk about nothing but record labels in their report. Although in the process, they were able to reveal a lot of important things about the music industry. Okay. Okay, where was that? All right. So that's the first one. So they said that between 1999 to 2024, the music industry has grown. And we have made a huge comeback, especially after the pandemic. So from 21.9 billion, this is in billions, from 21.9 billion in 1999, the music industry is now worth 29.6 billion. All right. So that is um yeah, Veronica, I just see charts and then you said that's my question. I'm really sorry, but I can't scroll up. You're gonna have to paste your question again. I'm sorry. Okay, so 1999 and then 2024. That's a difference of 8.1, I guess, or less. 7 point something billion, right? So they're saying that it actually grew. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about when I say, do you want to go down? Want to go down, baby? Say bye. Say bye to everybody. Tell them I am getting better. I'm getting better. I'm getting better, baby. Say bye bye. Say bye bye. Bye. Bye 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 bye. Bye 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 bye. Okay, say bye. Bye everybody. I'm gonna go to my bed. Bye. Say bye bye. Okay, go to your bed. Yeah, he's feeling better. All right. So, all right. So, this is what I'm talking about when I say you always have to dig deeper when they are releasing reports like this, right? Because on the onset, it does feel like it actually grew because from 21.9 to 29.8, that seems like a huge jump. But the thing is that remember, they're talking about monetary terms. So this is in dollars, US dollars. So they said from 21.8 billion to 29.6 billion. That's a huge jump. The thing is that there is inflation. So I don't think that is growth in any shape or form. So I trained my AI to do the computation for inflation. So this is the computation that, that I used to be able to compute how much 29.6 billion is in 1999 terms. So I just want to explain this very, very clearly. If you have $1 in 1999, and I'm using those years because those are the years that were used by the report. That was the first time when they computed the value of the music industry. So okay, so 21.9 They said that it was worth 21.9 back in 1999. All right. So my baseline is 1999. Now, for 29.8, I want to know how much is 29.8 worth back in 1999. If I have $1 in 1999, I was able to buy, let's just say, I was able to buy a bike, lunch, a burger, fries, and soda for $1 back in 1999. I'm just okay. So now in 2024, what will that $1 be able to buy? Gums, probably, right? If at all. So that is what I'm trying to compute. How much is the 29.8 billion in 1999 terms? So for me to be able to do that, I need to compute inflation because that's how I can come up with um, the value. That's how I will know how much that 29.6 is in terms of value. Okay. All right. So here is the formula that I use. So I trained AI, I trained my chat GPT to do the computation. So I told him how to compute it. So now moving forward, when I ask him to compute, he will be able to do it. So my AI is a guy because I'm referring to him as a he. Okay, so that is my calculation, and as you can see, it's 15.3. It's telling me that 29.6 billion now is only worth 15.3 billion back into 1999. That is not growth because if you would remember back in 1999, the music industry was worth 21.8 billion. So that is not growth. Okay. So when they said in this slide that, oh, the music industry actually grew, my initial thought, and this was even before I computed inflation, my initial thought was like, this is BS. You did not adjust it to inflation, and you always have to adjust it to inflation. Even when people are releasing, like for example, someone says, oh, just in concerts, for example, they earned 300 million in concerts in 2025, and then another group earned 250 million back in 1999. So the question is, okay, adjust your 300 million, adjust your, yeah, let's just say adjust your 300 million to inflation. Now the other thing that you need to consider is that when I plugged my formula into chat gpt so that he can automatically compute it for me, he's going to pull the official numbers of the government, meaning the government releases the inflation on a monthly basis, if you would remember, right? And then there's the yearly inflation. Okay, so they would release that on a monthly and then yearly. So he would take that because that's the official source. And I've mentioned this before, many, many times before, that 90 that inflation is actually manipulated to appear lower, but it's actually higher. And personally, and when you're computing, for example, your savings, your retirement, or whatever, you have to multiply what the government is telling you by at least three, but I would argue four times. So if the government tells you inflation is 3%, multiply it by three. But usually I multiply by four. So if the government tells me it's 3%, I would go, nah, it's 12. So this computation is even lower. Sorry, the inflation that he computed is even lower. So most likely the 15.3 billion is what? Probably, I don't know, like 11 billion. So it's much, much worse than it was in 1999. So it is smoke and mirrors just because they want to feel good about themselves. I don't know why. They're lying to themselves. I don't know but you always have. So whenever somebody tells you, compare the cost and compare the profit or whatever, always remember, okay, especially if there's like a considerable amount of years in between, inflation adjusted. Compute how much the worth is inflation adjusted. So don't think about the numbers, think about the value. Even when you are making any sort of investments or whatever, think about the value. One of the reasons many founders or many uh, startup employees actually become rich is that they forego getting a high salary and go for equity or stocks or shares within the company, because a share will go up with the company, right? So if you have 100 share now and it's worth $10 per share, in the future that $10 is going to be worth $100, as opposed to getting, for example, 100,000 a year. Your 100,000, even if you saved 50% of that in 10 years, that's going to devalue. So always inflation. Okay. So the music industry, in fact, didn't grow. It shrank to 15.3 billion if we use the computation using the inflation rate that the government is providing us. Okay. Now they're saying that, so this is where the revenue is coming from. So this big chunk, the outer blue circle that or arc that you're seeing, that is streaming. And 51%, more than 51% is coming from 51% of the revenue. They're coming from paid streaming. Okay. So paid streaming, 51.2% of people are actually paying for streaming. So they have paid subscription. And then 17%, a little over 17% is free streaming. So there are very few streaming sites that are giving it for free, one of which is Spotify, and then the other is YouTube, like YouTube. So those are free ones. I don't think Tidal, I don't think Amazon actually has free streaming. Okay. And then 9.7% performance rights. This is not the income from the concert itself. If you are going to perform, for example, or for a TV show, this is the best example actually, for a TV show, a variety show. Many of these variety shows would use music or songs of acts that are not a part of the show. So we have heard many times songs of BTS getting played in a TV show, in a variety show. They actually paid royalty to BTS to be able to use that. Okay, so there are different arrangements of that. Certain companies, for a TV show, for example, or a network, they would usually have a blanket deal, meaning they would pay. This is just an example. Okay, I'm going to be paying you $10,000 a month, and I will be able to use any kind of music that I want to for my show or for whatever. So, and then they just track whatever song they used in their show, and whoever has rights over that gets paid. So okay, that's performance rights. And then sync rights, synchronization or sync rights, that is the use of the song for an OST. So it could be an OST for a TV show, OST for a movie, OST for a game, or OST for an ad, for a TV ad or radio ad. If they used your song, that's sync rights. And up until, I would say, before the pandemic, I was actually going to be working for a singer who wanted to market her music for syncs, because she was getting, just based on her income, that's majority of her income, it was coming from syncs. And so she wanted to come up with a marketing plan in order to get more syncs and stuff like that. And then the pandemic happened, so that didn't push through. So but they earn a lot of money, but it also depends on who is actually going to be using your music, right? Like the most famous is the rights, the song that was used for Eternals, Marvel. So they use Friends, because Jimin got a load of money for that, because he was this composer, he was a producer, and half the performer. And then it's Marvel, it is international release, so the rate is different. So usually how it goes is that they pay off a certain amount right off. So for example, okay, Jimin, this is just an example. Here is $100,000, and then once they recuperate that, they start paying you royalties for future releases or future plays. Okay, so that syncs. And then physicals would be CDs, vinyls, albums in whatever shape or form. And then 2.8 from download. So digital download. Okay. Now, these are the top 10 because someone was asking about this, like who are the top 10. So you still have USA, that's number 1. You still have UK, Japan for number 2. Those are very very the top 5 is actually consistent. Sorry, the top 4, they're consistent. USA, Japan, UK, Germany, China, France, South Korea, Canada, Brazil, and Mexico is a new entry. I think they kicked out Australia, I want to say. They kicked out Australia this year. They've been in several times, but Brazil and Mexico, the last two spots, that's janky. So every year it kind of changes. But for this year, it's big for Mexico because the lead of the 10th to the 11th in 2023. Abangduna asked, okay, so the lead of the 10th to the 11th in 2023 was big. So for them to overtake, that means their income actually went up. And I will go deeper per country for the members only live stream. Okay, let's proceed. So they said that for downloads and other digital products, it actually went down 7.7%, negative 7.7%. So there are less and less people that are downloading the song um to their devices. I'm not surprised because if you can, number one, because internet is way better now than it was like 5 years ago. So I wouldn't expect people to be downloading them in their songs if they can just stream anytime. So it doesn't occupy, a lot of people have a lot of apps on their phone. They use it as a camera, they use it for videos and pictures and whatever. So the memory space is very valuable to them. So why download it if you can just play it? And then the other thing is that fans are actually more aware that streaming it from the streaming platform and not from your phone is going to help your favorite act to stream to get their charts to improve their charts. So more people are actually consciously streaming rather than downloading that. Okay. The ones that are downloading are just really fans like us that just because we want to help the group to chart, but still we would stream from the platform. Okay, now in terms of physicals, it also went down, so less people are actually buying their albums, CDs, vinyls. Negative 3.1%. However, so this is a preview of what I will be presenting to the members only live stream, but there is a huge movement on the vinyl side because they seem to be recovering, and I'm happy for the smaller mom and pop um, record shops, record stores, because it means foot traffic to their website, to their store. So people are actually coming in. They're coming in to actually buy vinyls. I would recommend you watch that interview that I did with Neil. So Neil is a long time record industry executive before actually putting up his own record store. And he said that one of the surprising things that has been happening to their store in the last 2-3 years is the increase of Gen Z people coming into their store to buy. And that actually surprised him because Gen Z is not your physical album person, but people are coming in and they're looking to buy vinyls. A lot of them are looking to buy vinyls. And because their store actually has, if you go to their store, for anybody of you in Burbank, I would recommend you go to their store. The address, I think I mentioned, or at least the website I mentioned, I pasted it in the YouTube episode in the description box. But he said that one of the things that he has been observing is that young people are actually testing, they're listening to the vinyl in their store because they have a listening section. There's a section there where you can put the vinyl and you can listen to that. And it's an entirely different experience for them. But just one story that I found very, very funny is that he said that many of these young people, especially in the beginning when they started coming in, he was very, very surprised on how people would actually start talking to no one and nothing as if they're talking to an app. So they would come in and they would just talk. They're not, how we used to like look for someone to talk to, right? Like, oh, hi, do you work here? And if they say yes, so I'm looking for this and blah, blah, blah. So he said that Gen Z people would come in, look around, and just talk. He would have to actually approach them, and they're like, hi, hey, in this store there's an actual human being and you can actually talk to me because I'm a human being and I'll answer your question. But it was so funny to me. And he said, yeah, he said, no, I'm not exaggerating. That's really how they do it. They would just talk, expecting that there's an AI that would answer them in the store. Okay. So, but physical is down. The only reason it's not down a whole lot is because they're being saved by vinyl. So there's a whole new study on this. There's a whole new like prediction in this, and I will talk about that in the for members only live stream. Okay, next is the sync. It's up 6.4%. And this is very easy to understand because there's a lot of content creators nowadays, right? And content creation is not limited to the big studios. Even YouTubers would actually go out of their way to use songs of BTS, of whatever. Okay. And so those, for example, if I use the song of BTS, I pay sync royalties to them. I pay them. So for YouTube, they have an AI, a robot that actually determines, okay, you're using dope of BTS. I'm sorry, but the income goes to BTS. So outside of the big companies, the Universal, the MGM of this world, you have smaller creators, and we're all paying syncs to these people whenever we use their tracks. So it is understandable why it is up 6.4%. Okay. I wish there is a vinyl options for all BTS albums. Okay. For streaming, it grew at a faster rate than any other formats, and they said that it grew 7.3%. I actually was a little surprised that it's not more, but also not surprised because they grew tremendously fast during the pandemic. Because during the pandemic, people didn't have anything to do. They just started subscribing to, to platforms. So I'm not really surprised that it grew just 7.3%. But also, to a certain extent, I was expecting it was going to grow even faster because there's a lot more acts that are debuting, because there's a lot more marketing happening, more money is being thrown for marketing and for advertising. I thought people are going to start discovering more artists and people are going to start actually subscribing for them. Okay. Hi, Juveline. All right. So by region, across the board, across all regions, they all grew. So for USA and Canada, North America, that's 2.1% growth, but Latin America grew 22.5%. They are the fastest growing market, and that gives you an idea why HYYH decided to invest in Latin America, because this is where the future is. And I've also mentioned before that if you are putting up a business and you really want to grow, you have to put up a business for the future, not for the present. Right? Okay. So that is the explanation why they expanded to Latin America. And then you have Europe, 8.3%, MENA, 22.8%, Asia, 1.3%, Australia, 6.4%, and sub-Saharan Africa, 22.6%. So the smaller markets there, it's very, very understandable why they are growing that fast. But for it's still surprising for Latin America, because they're not exactly a small market, and for them to grow this fast, it means something. Okay. Did BTS renew recently? No. The last time that they renewed was way before they signed up for the military. So okay, so some of the things that they are concentrating on is support for music's competitive marketplace. And they are saying this is specifically pertains to the increased royalties of artists. So I've mentioned to you before that if you kind of want to understand how much, or at least get an idea, a broad idea on how much an artist is actually going to make, I said go 30%. Because that's usually how much they, just because as I've said, I've been in the industry for a while, that's how they kind of, that's how much they end up with. And the first time I've actually heard somebody talk about this from the industry was Eminem. He said in in an interview probably 20 pounds ago, my 20 pounds, 20 pounds ago, he said that, he was looking at his statement, his finances, and he realized that at the end of the day, he goes home with 30% of the total amount of money that he is earning. And so at first he didn't like that, but also he later on realized, but if it wasn't for the 70%, I won't have the 30%. So he's kind of okay. Later on he kind of realized, okay, that's how it goes. Now they're saying, now this is another affirmation of that. IFPI themselves said that artists are now getting 34.8% or more. So it's a range, but this is their average, 34%. So it could be some acts may be getting 40%, they may be getting 45%, but by the average, it is 34.8%. And there are some acts that are of course getting way less. So they said that it is an increase. That is one of the biggest changes that happened in 2024, an increase in terms of average on how much artists are making, 34.8% now, they said. Okay, now, again, there's an entirely different study on the bad effects on how that's negatively affecting the industry, and I'll do that for the on the paid only, paid members um live stream. Okay. And then since 2018, artists' share of revenue has grown by 12.4%. So that's like, it used to be the average is that 25%. Okay. So they said that it went up 12.4%. I'd assume that's a range. That's the average. Probably 20 to 40% is the range, and then your average is 32%. Okay, music meets gaming in Fortnite. So this is just an example, but one of the things that they learned is that there are more and more revenue coming in through gaming. So, and that is not just because games are actually syncing or using the songs for their games, but that there are more games that are commissioning artists to write songs for them. That's one. Second, that's that within the game itself, and remember this, within the game itself, they actually, music is becoming a part of the experience. And so when people go on to play games, music is a part of it. So they'll hear a song, they'll play it while they are playing the game, or that there is a purchase involved in the song, stuff like that. But it is very much integrated in the gaming industry that they are anticipating it's going to double in the next 5 years. So again, a lot of people are actually um criticized both SM Entertainment, because SM is actually went heavy on gaming, and HYYH for investing heavy on the metaverse, on gaming. So those two agencies actually got it right. They are right that they were there early. So I think SM was actually there first before HYYH, because HYYH is a new company. So, but even before, I remember Hisuman talking about investing in gaming companies back when TVXQ, I think, did their second comeback after the lawsuit, after the lawsuit was settled. So, and people like, they didn't understand that. Even the ESPA concept of the metaverse, they don't understand. But now it's proving that they got it right. They got it right. Okay. Next. Shaping a positive future for AI and music. This, they spent about three sections. Yeah, three sections on AI. Okay. So essentially, what they're trying to say in this research is that there's nothing they can do to stop AI, and that they don't like it, but it is inevitable. And so they decided that, or labels are actually starting to work with AI rather than work against AI. Okay. I remember when all this that talks about AI and the metaverse and NFTs and the blockchain, all of these things, a lot, many were actually hating on it. But again, people are being proven right. even the music industry saying it's inevitable. If we fight this, we're going to lose. So we're going to work with it. Okay. So they're saying that they are going to start working around AI. And these are some of the things that they are going to start doing. One is that they are harnessing the power of AI to give a legend his voice back. And so one of the examples that they used is John Lennon. So for the Beatles, if you would remember, they released a song and they used AI to isolate the voice of John Lennon from a group recording. So back in the 60s, or late 50s, early 60s, when they were still doing their recording, it was it was very different from how we're doing it today, in that the vocals are not isolated per person. So when they record, they'll be in the studio, they'll be playing, and everything is recorded at the same time. So you have one audio file for all four members. So that's just an example. Okay. So what they did is that they used AI in order to isolate the voice of John Lennon and then pluck that in the new recording of the same song. They just re-recorded it by Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney. Okay. So that's one of the uses that they have found for AI. Now it is easier for them to finish work, to actually maximize the work of artists that are no longer with us. Because that I have no problem with in terms of the use of AI, because they did not they did not copy the voice of John Lennon, right? They only used AI in order to isolate his voice and then put it in a new recording. I'm fine with that. That's still John Lennon's voice. Sure, they might have done auto tune or whatever. That's fine. We've been using auto tune, which is also AI, for the longest time. So I have no problem with that. Okay, so they're saying that that's one use of AI. Now, other things is that they are going to start working with legislators, with the government, with other regulators to make sure that the legislations or laws are there or regulations are there to protect the interest of musicians against those that will abuse the power of AI. AI or any kind of technology is agnostic. It is not bad and it isn't good either. It is as bad if as you make it to be and as good as you make it to be. So they're just saying that we're going to make sure that there are legislations that will prohibit people to use AI for things that the original singer or the original artist does not permit. So for example, I'm sure that you have heard of it. There's a lot of companies out there that are using voices, are using data, are using your own playlist or whatever you do to train their AI. And sometimes they ask for your permission. Sometimes they do it without you knowing. Okay. So they want to make sure that does not happen. That if there is a company that is going to use, for example, the voice of the Weekend and Peso Pluma to train their AI, they want to make sure that Peso Pluma and the Weekend will know about it, will know the conditions, what it's going to be used for, and will agree to it. Okay. So one of the things that they mentioned is that many of these AI companies are they're studying the hits that are the hit songs that certain artists were able to release, that certain artists released. So they're teaching their AI what are the components of those songs that made it a hit, so that they can tell the AI to write more of those songs. Okay, so they don't want that to happen, or if that happens they want to make sure that the conditions are right or whatever. Because one of the things that people think is going to happen is that, okay, so they, for example, they train their AI on the hits of Peso Pluma and The Weeknd and Benson Boone and Adele. Okay. And then they're just simply going to ask AI, okay, write a hit. Use the components of this song and write a hit. Give me 10. And then AI is just going to pump those 10 hits. That could very well happen. Okay. But most likely what's going to happen is that the labels are going to say, okay, write me a hit. Okay, so the AI is going to release, they're going to come up with those 10 hits. They're going to get a musician and say, okay, translate this, like revise certain parts of it, blah blah blah. And then we'll ask one singer to release it. And so they have full deniability that everything they used to make that song is AI, because a human being actually went down and changed some things. That's cheating, because at the end of it, still AI that used it. Now it could still be a hit. But we don't want that to happen, and the music industry don't want that to happen as well, because you are going to, at the end of the day, you are going to minimize the value of art. So that's, as I've said, they want to make sure the policymakers will reject changes in the copyright law that would undermine right holders' right to choose whether their work is used to develop AI models. They want to make sure that happens. So they have a lot of discussions that are going on in the Senate, the Congress, policymakers, regulators. Policymakers must require AI developers to maintain this and disclose records. Now, a lot of people think that this is a long shot, because at the end of the day, I can just do whatever it is that I want to do in my bedroom, right? So if I want to train, if I have an AI, I can actually write my own AI, have my own program, write my own AI program, and then just get all of this, like train my own AI using the hits of Adele and Peso Pluma and Benson Boone, and then have my AI write the hits and release it. So that's probably true. That can still happen. But at the end of the day, I will still be using platforms that are owned by big corporations. And if these big corporations are compelled by the court, or even if they're a small corporation, if they are compelled by the court to release their data, then they will have no choice. So that's what they are trying to safeguard. They want to make sure that any company out there, any legal entity out there, may be compelled by the court to disclose their data so that anybody can be held liable. Now, yes, there is still a possibility that they won't get caught. And I mean, that's still happening to this day. Okay. Next. Um recording okay, they're powering global cultures and economies. Essentially what they're saying here is that they're actually investing more on local economies and local regions or local markets. So for example, Universal Music, they're partnering with local labels in India, in the Philippines, in Indonesia, and they are producing more and more local hits and local artists. That's what they mean. So it seems that the global in the North American industry, the NA music industry, is coming into terms with the fact that in Asia, especially, well, a lot of parts of the world, we're not necessarily following the trend of the US. Now, if they want a piece of our business here in the business in Asia, then they're just going to have to make sure that they are invested in those countries. And that's what they are doing. They're partnering or buying into companies in Asia in order to get a piece of that business. Okay. They've seen that growth in South Korea, for example, for K-pop. Suddenly, they weren't even aware that it was happening, or they were ignoring it. They didn't know that this is already taking over the world. And so by the time they got into it, there's already a big player, which is HYBE, and of course, SM Entertainment. Okay. The top artist for 2024 is still Taylor Swift. So this is based on album sales, streams, and yeah, album sales and streams, and then the sale and digital sales as well. Okay. So she is the biggest. She's the biggest. And the gap between 1 and 2, it's huge. so so it's like 20 and to 1. That's how big of a gap it is. Okay. So, and then number 2 is Drake. And then the gap between 2 and 3 is even wider, but it is 17. They are the third in terms of consumption. Billie Eilish or Eilish, and then Stray Kids number 5, Zach Bryan for number 6, The Weeknd for number 7, Eminem for number 8. He only released one album. Number 9 for Kendrick Lamar, and Sabrina Carpenter for the 10th. So I'm sorry. So the big, I'm just reviewing my numbers. The gap between 1 and 2 is close. It's the gap between 2 and 3 that are big. That is big. So 1 and 2 very close, 2 and 3 are very very far apart. Just want to correct what I said initially. Okay, because I was just reviewing my numbers. It's very very far. Drake is just a powerhouse in streaming. He's not very big in sales, but he's big on streaming. He actually outstreams Taylor Swift. But in terms of sales in general, Taylor's way ahead. Okay. In terms of this, so those are general artists. So this is artists, the top artists. But this is top singles for 2024. It was Benson Boone's "Beautiful Things." And then number 2 is, I don't know if you've heard, if you've actually listened to that song. If you haven't, please listen to it. It's really good. Sabrina Carpenter. It's a little too small for me. Okay, so let me see if I can. Okay, there you go. So you have, I'm trying to go bigger. Okay. So you have Espresso for Sabrina Carpenter, Lose Control, Teddy Swiss, Birds of a Feather, Billie Eilish or Eilish. How does she pronounce it? A Bar Song Tipsy by Shabuzi. Too Swift by Hosier. I Had Some Help by Post Malone, Kendrick Lamar, Not Like Us, Cruel Summer, Taylor Swift, and then Stick Season by Noah Kahan. And then for albums, of course, Taylor is number 1. Hit Me Hard and Soft, Short and Sweet, Romance Untold, SOS, Spill the Feels. This is 17. Number 6, Once Upon a Time. Are you seeing this? Okay. And then right here, 17 is right here. Again, 17. Sixth Season by Noah Kahan, and then 8 by Stray Kids. So that is your 10. Okay. Where do they find these artists? I don't like much current music. You would love to see Sabrina with JK? Carol said that she would love to see Sabrina with JK. Okay, so that's the album. And then, oh, this is just a preview of what I'm going to be presenting to the next, to the members only live stream. So, Fantastic Four is going to end with about 500 million revenue. The the production budget is 200 million. So many are celebrating it as a hit. It's a loss. It's a very bad loss, actually. Eilish. Okay, Eilish, Billie Eilish. So because 200 million is just production budget for a movie like this, it's probably between 200 million. The marketing budget is between 200 million to 300 million. Let's be generous and let's just say the budget is 200 million. So marketing and their production budget is in total 400 million. You need to earn 3 times to earn. You need a revenue of 3 times your budget in order to earn. So that means they need to earn, in order to break even, sorry, you need to earn twice to break even, 3 times to earn. So 400 million, if that is your marketing and production budget, you need to earn 800 million to break even. If they earn 500 and 600 million, that's a loss. So okay, I will, because IFBI, Illuminate, actually not IFBI, but Illuminate actually comes up with a separate report for movies. But I'm going to explain this entire thing, and there's just, it's one loss after another for many Hollywood movies, and if they don't shape up, they are Netflix, Apple TV, Hulu. They're going to reign. They're going to dominate the movie industry. So they need to shape up because there's just something they're doing something wrong. Okay. Um okay, that's it, I think. Do you have questions before I go to my next topic? They need to make better movies. Crazy that is considered a loss. I know. When I started working for, and this was when I was still writing scripts in the Philippines and also producing the movies. When I say producing, it doesn't mean I'm putting in the money. It's just like I was the executive producer. It's a lot of things that basically um, I learned about the times three rule. The actual the production company that's actually putting in the money. They showed me the numbers and they said, no, you need to do three times that to make some amount of money, two times that to barely break even. So now, with a lot of Hollywood executives and Hollywood movies, they actually don't disclose how much they're going to that disclose that they are losing actually. Um, but it's just sad. There's so many movies that are not just making enough money. The movie industry has a lot of work to do. It does, yeah. I wish they would just go back. I don't know what's happening, quite honestly. Are you going to the Dodgers games to support V? And unfortunately, no, I can't. I can't yet. I can't leave my dog unless it's all better. And also some things that I just need to finish, like the website. I wasn't able to. I decided that I'm not going to launch the website until next week because I need to do. I want to make sure that I have at least 150 articles in there, and I barely have 50. So I want to spend this week to just upload the content. I have a lot of content, so there's no reason for me to be able to upload like 150 articles there. It's just the manual work, and there's just also making sure that you're formatting it in a way that it is for magazine because Google won't like it if you just cut and paste my script into the magazine. So just stuff that I really need to just really just get it done in order to move on to the next one. Okay. Those tickets are hot commodity right now. I wish I could go. Yeah. I wish I could go. The next time. Next time. Most movies feel recycled now. Yeah, I don't know. So in that report that I will be doing for the members only live stream. By the way, many of you actually meant yeah, you left a comment in Patreon saying that you can't participate in a discussion. You should be able to participate. So even if you're not if you're yeah, even if you're not, so you should be able to, regardless of whatever tier you were in, you should be able to participate. But you need to watch on YouTube. Don't watch on Patreon. You should be able to participate. Okay. So I look great, thank you. Despite my horrible bangs. Okay. What do you want to do next? Okay. See, I talk too much again. It's already an hour 22. Do you want to do charts or news and updates? Too many freaking sequels. Do you want to do charts or news and updates? News and updates. Okay. Let's do news and updates. So K-pop, what's happening? If you enter through Patreon, there is no chat box. Yeah, you have to enter. So I paste the um if you click on the title, it's gonna ask you if you want to watch on YouTube. Watch on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube itself, you'll be able to join the conversation. Okay, news and updates. As you know, V is going to do the ceremonial first pitch today at the MLB for LA Dodgers. I don't know. For those of you who don't know how much we love our team, how much Angelinos actually love our teams, our sports teams. So it is what a K-pop group is to K-pop. fans. So that same devotion, that same loyalty, ride or die kind of attitude, that's what we have for our teams. We love them. We absolutely love them because they're fighting for our city, and we love our city no matter how shitty things may be sometimes. We love our city. And so we love our teams. And so that's very, very sacred to us, the same way K-pop groups are sacred to K-pop fans. And so whoever goes into that mound, they have to embody, they have to love, they have to show the same respect to our teams. So it's an honor to be chosen as a first pitcher. It is ceremonial, but it is an honor to be there because, as I've said, not just anyone can step on that mound. That is sacred for us. And it just so happened as well that this year, since last year, we actually have in our team the Dodgers, what could probably be the greatest baseball player of all time. I know that a lot of Babe Ruth fans will come after me. So I will just say this, that he is in the conversation. He is in the process. Of course, it's still a young career. He still has a lot to prove, a lot of records to break, but he is great. His name is sorry. His name is Shohei Otani. He's actually a Japanese guy. And he's just great. He can pitch, he can catch, so he can pitch and he can bat. So yeah, he is in the conversation for sure of being a GOAT. I know that he already surpassed many of the records of Babe Ruth. But as I've said, still has a long way to go. But if you watch, like, my God, it's just home run after home run after home run. And the way that he does them is just, yeah. So and yeah, that's, he's our pride and joy right now. And we love our teams, whether it is baseball, American football, or basketball or hockey, any kind of team that represents California, specifically LA, we love them. So for V to be chosen, it's a big deal. And I actually posted on X that I am manifesting a picture of V and Shohei because it would be great to have two legends together. And for them, like in the future, for us to have that memory, right, of the two legends to come together in one picture, it's going to be great. So I'm definitely manifesting that. I hope that V has a solo picture with him, just the two of them. Also, and what, which is the exhibit of J Hope, is going to China. I don't know if there's any Chinese here, but he's going to China. So if you want to go and buy your tickets now, please do so. I haven't had the chance to see it. I hope to get that opportunity very, very soon, but he is in China right now. Okay. Veronica, do you want me to post my question now or keep waiting? Because I'll wait if you want me to. Okay, you can post your question, Veronica. You can post your question now. Do you want me to post my question? You can post your question now. Okay. So for the tickets, before we talk about that, for the tickets, there are still very few left, very, very few in LA Dodgers. So if you go to the website of LA Dodgers or MLB, you can buy tickets. Now, sometimes it is low and it acts up. You can go to Ticketmaster. It's the same ticket price, but you will see resell, but it's the same ticket price. So you can go there, and also StubHub, they said. So because a lot of these tickets in they are season tickets. So usually they just resell them if they are not planning on going. But I am anticipating the traffic is going to be hell because it's V. Some people are planning to just sit through V and then leave, but I would, as I've said, it's your chance to watch Otani. So please just give yourself a break and actually sit down and watch him play a great game. Because how many goats have you witnessed in your life, right? In person. And this is your chance. So one of the greatest regrets that I've had is that I actually never watched um Tom Brady in a Super Bowl. So I regret that because so far I would say he's the GOAT. I wish I had that chance to actually watch him. Doesn't matter if you're a fan or not, right? Just to be able to watch a GOAT in front of you. The same way, even if you're a fan, for example, even if you're not a fan of Michael Jackson, But if you had a chance to watch him, you still watch him. He's the GOAT. You need to witness this great. So, okay, you don't like Tom Brady. Okay, Veronica's question. On Twitter, there's a lot of noise sadness. Jimin was left out of a photo and movie clip. Army demanding an apology. Wonder if you knew anything. I actually posted about it. It's very normal. And I've always said this. I don't, it's normal for if you're a, it's normal for armies. And it's even way more normal for those that are standing a member to not want those things to happen, right? So that's normal. So when people started talking about it, when I first watched it, I was actually doing the live stream for members only. I was doing live stream and I immediately noticed there's one missing because it's in my head just as a practice. I would always count. I would always do a head count. Okay, I'll do a head count and say, okay, if they're there, that's the minimum. So when I did a head count, he wasn't there. So I immediately knew. And I actually blurted it out during the live stream. I said, Jim and Bias are going to have a field day with this one. They will not like it. And it will be the same thing if it was V, if it was Jungkook, if it was RM, Suga, J-Hope. We can expect those that the fans specifically whose bias is that member. So I definitely think that's the reaction was normal. Was it an overreaction? No, because had it been well, okay, let me rephrase that. Was it an overreaction? That depends on the way you would measure an overreaction. So if you're not a Jimin bias, that's an overreaction. But if that happened to V again, if it's Jungkook, it's so it all depends. Do I think that it was an error? Yes, I do think it is an error. I do not think that Big Hit in any shape or form will do something like that intentionally. So maybe the social media editor is actually not is an intern and not he has not developed that practice yet. Some people are saying that it was intentional because in the next clip, the next shorts that they released, there were more Jimin uh clips. I don't think that's the case. I think it was just an error. I think that's honestly what I thought happened. It was an error. G- the ideal situation is that there's 7 layers of approval and that at somewhere in that 7 layers someone will catch it. That didn't happen here. So yes, the answer is I think it was an error. I do not think they will correct it. But I hope that it is a lesson that they will learn so that it doesn't happen to any members, to any member for that matter. So that's it. I think it was an error. I think the reaction that the bias the fans it's a normal thing. It would have happened had it been any member. So, but it is done. I don't think they will apologize for it. So, yeah, that's it. I I posted something. I said, I knew when it happened. I knew that no matter what you say, Big Hit is not going to correct it. They will not do that. Um, I still posted it just because I think it is a lesson for the social media person, whoever the editor. I think it's important for the editor to be aware that he shouldn't be making those mistakes. If you're marketing your group to always be complete, seven or nothing. Even they themselves are saying that, right? Seven or nothing. So if that is the marketing, then you're making it appear as if that's what people are going to expect. So it is important for that editor, whoever made that clip and whoever approved it, to be aware of their mistake. But I do not think that they will correct it. So all the complaints, I do not think it's futile. I don't think it's futile. I think it still should have. It's just right that they hear the complaints, but I did not expect that they were going to change it in any way, shape, or form. That's my response. You saw the other two movie promotions with Jimin on it. Yeah. I think the second one was an overcorrection because there were like three times Jimin appeared or something. So, but as I've said, the thing that we can hope for is that they learn their lesson. Whoever did that clip the first time and whoever approved it, we hope that they learn their lesson. That's the best that you can hope in a situation like that. But if you're marketing your group as a seven or nothing group, then people will always expect seven or nothing. Okay. I'm sure RM had a conversation with that department. We don't know. Maybe let's, sure. um. Okay, next. Let's do. So this is a tweet from the creative director of not the creative director. He's the head of marketing, I think, head of social media marketing of McDonald's. And he said that I'm a tiny bit too excited for what's happening. And it's Tiny Tan. I think that's pretty, we you know us. We can look at them in any angle and we'll know that's Tiny Tan, right? So I'm assuming that the collaboration right now is with Tiny Tan. So I don't know how BT21 will feel about that. I don't know if you're aware of the made up rivalry. This is all for fun. Don't take it seriously. Armies are just having fun online. There's a rivalry between BT21 and Tiny Tan. So BT21 fans are accusing Tiny Tan of being nepo babies because they suddenly just started singing their father's songs or whatever, while BT21 had to build up their own narrative, their own songs, they had to do their own concerts. So it's just for fun, it's nothing serious. Okay, so I think it is a Tiny Tan rivalry. So, so Tiny Tan partnership with McDonald's. I don't eat a lot of fast food, but for this one, I am definitely going to buy to try and collect all seven. Now, one thing that you do need to prepare for is that there's going to be a lot of activists that are going to use this against BTS. Okay, so you know the issue about all these accusations of Zionism and whatever and whatever. So they're gonna come after. This is going to be another onslaught of activists coming our way. So just be prepared for that. Okay. BT21 is too expensive to give away in Happy Meal. Well, maybe, they're self-made. Okay, so fastest live album to reach 100 million in Spotify history remains to be Homecoming of Beyonce. And then the second is BTS Permission to Dance. It took them 30 days. Homecoming took 16 days. And then the rest, Long Pond Studio Sessions, 161. Live at SoFi Stadium, I don't know who that is, 198K. By for now, 200 days. So that's 16 and 30. They're the second fastest to reach 100 million streams on Spotify. And you know what? For Homecoming, I think only one song was promoted. So that's a great achievement for them. For 2024, biggest album sales released in 2024, Jungkook is number 1 at 200. This is global. 210,000. For Golden, Jimin is second, Face for 164, Suga for D-Day 140,000. And then Rose 102, V for Layover 100, and then Muse 96,000, RM Indigo 83,000, Jin Happy 77,000, and Nayon 56,000. I'm Im Nayon. So okay, congratulations to them. What do numbers on the left mean? It's just their ranking. Sorry, the numbers, the not the highest rank that they got in Billboard 200. So sorry, so this is sales on the US, sorry. Physical sales in the US. So because this is Billboard 200. So this is the highest peak that they got in Billboard 200. Okay. So that's the meaning. The highest maybe if I do this. No. There. Okay, there. Most streamed. So the most streamed for song released in 2025 so far, it's Jump 174 million, and then Hot by Les Seraphim. Jump is from Blackpink, so they have 174 million streams. Hot 103 million streams. Takedown, which is Twice, it's 97.3. The Chase 65.1. Rebel Heart 61.6. Love Language 54.8. Thunder 53.3, and Hands Up 53 million. So your top three girl groups, they're also the top three that had the most stream for 2025. Okay. Yeah, only two. Yes. So if I actually do it this way, you'll see the entire list actually. So after Nyon, there's RM, RPWP, 55K. So this is your top 10. Jungkook, Jimin, Sugar, Rose, V, Jimin, RM, Jin, Nyon, and RM again. So you have two that is not BTS. Okay. And then Cordy's. Actually trended number one on YouTube. I don't know if you were able to watch their video. Did you like it? Did you like their second song, What You Want? I know that even before they launched, even before they debuted, I knew they were going to get a lot of hate just because they're from Hype, no matter the quality of the music. So that's nothing new. But they did release their song. But before we go there, before we talked about Cortez, let's talk about. Give me 1 second. Let's talk about. Okay. Let's talk about the road to 1B before we proceed with everything else. Okay, let's do. Let us update and do. Okay, there you go. So I have not, let me take myself out. I have not updated the estimated date to reach the next billion mark, but this is the update for the 1 billion, road to 1 billion. So now it's a soundtrack. It is now a soundtrack. Okay. So this is the road to 1 billion. We have let's go to BTS first. There you go. So for the road to 1 billion, these are songs that are on their way to 1 billion. Fake Love is very, very close. So this is Spotify. 994 million streams. We're very, very close. So about 5.9 million more and we will get to 1 billion. We'll have another song of BTS to 1 billion streams. Life Goes On will be the next at 823,000. And then for Jin, this is by age now. For Jin, Astronaut is 591,000, 491 million, not 591,000, 591 million. So not a lot of streams gained from August 3, which is 589. Running Wild, though, got to 382, but the fastest moving is Don't Say You Love Me. It went from 302 million to 361 million in 2 weeks. So that's a big gain for Don't Say You Love Me. Okay. Are you seeing it very clearly? Do you see the numbers clearly? Okay. All right. So I guess you are seeing it clearly. Okay. For Suga, Hegum went from 603 to 615 million, but not a lot of movement. Well, not as fast for the Cheetah. It went from 412 to 414 million. Okay. Now, J Hope, we're tracking a lot of songs for J Hope. We have Sweet Dreams, who went from 127 to 131. And then Mona Lisa, 176 to 183. And then More from 314 to 315. And his biggest gainer is Killing It Girl from 94 to 111 million. So if Killing It Girl maintains its streams, then it's probably going to overtake all the other songs. And this will most likely be his first song to reach 1 billion. Okay. So that's for J Hope. Um, oh, please like the live stream. Yes, please like it. Okay. So, and then for RM, People, it gained 3 million. We need to stream for our leader. Please, I beg you, please stream. Actually, in the one what I'm going to be presenting to the paid members only live stream, I'm going to discuss something that will help us understand why all the streams are moving the way that it's moving. Okay, so for Jimin's Set Me Free is the only one that we are tracking on its way to 1 billion right now, because the two other songs that he has already are in 1 billion, and one is on its way to 2 billion, closer to 2 billion. Okay, so Set Me Free went from 426 to 428. Not a lot of movement, a lot of streams for the other songs. For V, we're tracking Two Friends and Slow Dancing. For Friends, it went from 525 to 530, 5 million, not bad. And then 517 to 521 for Slow Dancing. So I think it's safe to say that Friends will get to 1 billion faster. 3D is most likely the next song that will next to Fake Love. It went from 960 to 986 million. So he is about 4 million away now, 14 million away from 1 billion. And then Dreamers 400, and this is the next one that we will be tracking once 3D crosses over. 488 to 490 million. Okay. You're streaming Namjoon. Okay. All right. So next is, let's do 2 billion. Road to 2 billion. So Butter, My Universe, Boy with Love are the three songs of BTS that has crossed the three songs that have crossed 1 billion on their way to 2 billion. So for Butter, it's 1.375 to 1.379 billion. For My Universe, it went from 1.486 to 1.493. And then Boy with Love went from 1.291 to 1.296. Okay. V, Love Me Again, went from 1.065 billion to 1.069 billion. Like Crazy went from 1.379 to 1.383. But the biggest gain for him is Who, 1.878 to 1.918 billion. Okay, so this is probably going to cross 2 billion really soon. And then for Jungkook, Standing Next to You went from 1.256 to 1.267, and Left and Right 1.105 to 1.108. Okay. And then the two songs that crossed 2 billion on their way to 3 billion are Seven and Dynamite. So for Seven, that's 2.470 to 2.496. Also a lot of gains. And then for Dynamite, 2.1022, 102 to 2.109. Okay. So that's where we are for our road to 1 billion. As you can see, so once I think the ones that will cross 2 billion next will be Who for Jimin. And then one that will cross 1 billion next will be Fake Love for BTS, and then 3D for Jungkook. So for the rest, we just need to work harder to stream them. All right. Now I saw a question about Dope, because there seems to be some sort of a project to get it to 1 billion. And one was asking, why is it uploaded into two different platforms? One is HYBE, Big Hit, and then the other is One the K, I think. So just to explain, in the early days of BTS, of course, they're not as known. So the objective was to introduce them to a larger market. And at that time, Hybe or Big Hit didn't have as many followers as it did now. Now, of course, they have way more followers than One Decay. So that is the reason usually many new agencies and many groups partner with One Decay or similar platforms, because they have a bigger audience. And so if they upload their song there, they get introduced to a bigger market. So that is the reason it's uploaded into two different websites. Now, they've stopped doing that a long time ago. They don't need to do that anymore. But both should count to the 1 billion, because it's the same music video. Okay. Let's go back to the news and updates. This big hit post to SoundCloud now. No, not anymore. They used to do SoundCloud for their covers and for their mixtapes, but not anymore. They don't use SoundCloud anymore. And SoundCloud also had another problem because SoundCloud is basically unregulated, meaning there is no middleman. They don't have quality control. So people can just upload whatever it is that they want to upload. And so you get a lot of like subpar songs there. Also, a lot of good songs. But I think that's probably why a lot of people actually just started turning away from it because you're competing with trash, basically. So it used to be good. It used to be good, but they were not able to maintain it. Okay, so all right, let's go back to our news and update. So, K-pop Demon Hunters becomes the first soundtrack to have three songs simultaneously rank in the top 10 on the top 100 Billboard Hot 100 since Waiting to Exhale. And someone, was it Bang Luna, who said now they're starting to call it a soundtrack. I think it's that first wave of whatever, that's just silliness. I don't know who even started it. I don't know why people decided to follow. It's silly. It's a fictional group. We should be mentioning the names of the singers behind the song the same way we gave Idina Menzel the fame that she has right now. Then we should also give the three singers their fame for the success of this soundtrack. So we really they are, if there's anybody who is a casualty of this stupidity, it is the three singers. Because Idina is now a household name. Everyone knows her as the girl with a great voice. The great voice behind Let It Go. But the three girls, EJ, uh, Ming, I forget the name of the other one. You see, I can't even remember, right? So they are the biggest casualty. If people think that they are one app, like they're going to erase the record of, I don't know, of a K-pop group, it's not gonna happen. Someone already did that. Like someone already hit number one in Billboard Hot 100 with a Korean language song. There's been two acts who's done it. And one act did it several times. BTS is one, they did it twice. And Jimin did it once. And Jimin is the first one who actually debuted to number one with a Korean song. So what is it? What record are they hoping it will erase for BTS? The only one that it is erasing is the record of girl groups, Korean girl groups, and shame on them for doing it. So I don't know where this craziness happened. But Billboard themselves they formally called this a fictional group. So let's call it that. Okay? Let's call it that. And then for Huntrix, let's make it a practice to always mention the name of the three girls behind the song, behind the voice. They deserve to get famous. Their name deserves to get famous as well. Okay. It's disappointing that people are going to try and erase their name from this. Okay, so for 2024, I've already shown this. So the biggest album debut in Billboard 200. Yang Yun Suk has developed this practice of going live or releasing a video quarterly where he would announce what's going to happen to the company or what people can anticipate with their groups in the next quarter. He used to not do this. He was very like he took on the same image as his groups before. Like he would rarely talk about what's the plan. He was very dismissive. If you ask him before, like if you ask him like when is the album of Blackpink going to be released? It's like we're making sure it's quality album, so you're just gonna have to wait or something like that. Now he's changed his attitude, he's changed his image, he's being very accommodating to the point that he's actually volunteering content. So for this quarter, he announced that there are a lot of things to anticipate. One of which is that Baby Monster will release an album, Treasure will release an album, Baby Monster will also have their own reality show. And he said this is going to be similar to the Blackpink house. I don't know if you are aware of that, but I think it was like YG gave like they gave the four girls their own dormitory, and it was personally designed by Yang Yun Suk. So they introduced their house, and it was a beautiful house. So they're doing something similar to Baby Monster, Baymon House, he said. So I thought he was in jail. So it is suspended sentence. So he's not necessarily going to go to jail for as long as in the next 18 months. I think he's a good boy, meaning he doesn't do anything illegal. He doesn't get caught. He doesn't, whatever. Then he's not going to serve any jail time. So it's suspended sentence. So unfortunately, I don't agree, but that's what the court said. Blackpink is going to release an album in November. I feel very, very iffy with this because it's not committing. So I think it's gonna try and push it closer to March of the next year. Because he was like, "Oh, I am just hoping that the producers that are assigned to Blackpink, they're doing their best, and I hope that we can release it November." So it's like, yeah, you're gonna try and push it later, because you know. Okay, there was a question. Where is the new group? He said that the new group is going to debut. He announced this last quarter. He said that that new group is going to debut next year, and that's going to have four members. Now, he specifically said that he is not trying to copy Blackpink. It just so happened that this is the group that he formed. So it's going to still be there. He said nothing special about the number four, because as you know, 21 four members, Blackpink four members. But he said no, nothing special about that. It's just so happened that those are the members that he chose. So there will be four members in that group that they will be launched next year. A lot of Baby Monster groups, Baby Monster fans are not happy about it because they feel that Baby Monster deserves to be the only girl group for a while, right? Incubate them, make sure that they are in their prime before you launch another group. He did say, though, say in that announcement that he made that he hopes that in 3 years, his target is that in 3 years, Baby Monster will be doing a stadium tour. I actually said that stadium tour on X. I said that concert tour is the new mini album for K-pop. You know how often they used to drop mini albums, right? One after the other. Now they just make their groups tour one after the other. Because I was looking at the list of groups that toured 2023, 2024, 2025. I'm like, these are the same groups. They keep on touring. So I think they've replaced the mini album with tours because that they gain more money that way. Okay. Um okay, maybe BP is gonna push the album around the okay, maybe. Let's see. Let's see if he is that predictable. SM Entertainment has released their quarterly earnings. So now we have the four companies complete, and they did very well. Their revenue increased 19.3 year on year. And it is 302 billion Korean won. And that was driven by the higher sales from their main business, major subsidiaries. Their operating profit increased 92.4 year on year, and that translates to 47 billion won. And then net profit will increase 276.2% year on year, and that translated to 309 billion won. So that's a good increase year on year. So that's they don't usually in their report, unlike HYBE and unlike JYP, they don't show the previous quarter. Usually it's actually immaterial. So year on year is way more important. So compared to the second quarter of 2024, they increased. Okay. And then, so these are the things that happened that contributed to their good performance for 2024. Let me remove myself so you can see everything in full. So they had album sales contributed a lot. Rise went up. NCT Wish 1.34 million, aespa zero point 0.9 million in sales, and then of course the concert revenue, that is TVXQ, NCT 127, Taeyeon did 8 stops, SM Town did 3 stops, 10, 15 stops, NCT Wish 10, Shiny 3, Kai 6. And then of course they had some licensing as well. Okay, so it's usually, so in summary, it's the album and the tours that contributed to that, to their good performance. And then they have subsidiaries as well. I know that HYBE is actually known for their multi-label system, but even before they did it, SM was actually already doing it. So they have under their company SMCNC, SM Entertainment, Key East. So all of this are actually operating independently as well. So I'm sure that you recall the criticisms that Min Hee-jin was throwing at HYBE for having a multi-label system. They're not the first one to do that. Okay. Um, Next, so these are the activities that happened in the last quarter, in the that will happen in this quarter. So we have a Super Junior full album, NCT Dream full album, Wavy TVXQ, Yo, which is the former, not former, but one of the members of Girls' Generation, TVXQ, Boa. I don't know who is Shinghan. I don't know who that is. Nevis is the avatar of Espa. So she is going to have her own single. She's going to have her own song. Key, a member of Shiny, and Joy, a member of Red Velvet. So they all have either a single, well, the rest, only Nevis will have a single, the rest will have albums. Okay. And then others will be Hechan Suho, the leader of EXO, Chanyol, member of EXO, Espa, of course, you know who that is, NCT Wish, that they will all be releasing their own albums. Will have a full album. I'm a TVXQ fan. I'm a fan. The is my bias in TVXQ. Taeyeon, Yuta, Chanyol, NCT Dream, Wavy, Hearts to Hearts mini album in fourth quarter, Max Changmin, the other half of TVXQ, Rise, Minho, and Jungwoo. So those are their projects for the rest of the year. Now we have the four complete, and these are some of the details that they have. See, a lot. There's a lot of things happening. And so, just as an insight, one of the things that contributed to their constant good performance financially is that they are very diversified. So, they have a lot of groups under them. And this is actually the same thing that Hybe is doing. They're producing a lot of groups because down the road, they are anticipating the same thing, right? You want to continuously earn money, and so more groups you have, more sources of income. And so it's working for SM Entertainment. That's why they're constantly producing good income. Their financial report is always healthy. Okay, so they're very, very diversified is one. Second is that there is a constant rotation. They seem to have this like cadence in their operations. It's always um there's if one is in hiatus, the other is gonna release an album, and then another batch gonna go on tour. And so when when the tour stops, they go on hiatus. The one that's in hiatus releases an album, and then they do a tour, and then it's just a rotation. Espa's fifth member, it's more, yeah, I guess you can call Nevis a fifth member, but more like their metaverse member. Yeah. She's a standalone sort of. And then they worked on their core markets. So they're very strong in South Korea and Japan. Make no mistake, NCT, although for the Western market, they're not big, they are huge in South Korea. I think I've mentioned to you in the last trip that I had to South Korea, and I watched the Inkigayo summer like concert. The biggest and the loudest cheer was NCT. It wasn't even close. So it was loudest. It was the loudest, louder than everyone else, louder than Stray Kids, louder than 17, louder than New Jeans, Le Seraphim, everyone else. They had the loudest scream. So they have the SK market on the palm of their hand. They have it good. So, and that has been the constant source of revenue. So it's just that it's unfortunate that they are not that South Korea, it seems to them they're not growing at the right pace, and so they are starting to feel the need to expand. So this is the summary for everyone, for all the four agencies, and now it includes the US dollar equivalent, because I know that we I always show it to you in one. So now you have the US dollar equivalent. So gross revenue, of course, the biggest is HYBE, 511.6 million. Followed by SM Entertainment, 219.5 million, JYP, 156.4 million, and then YG, 104 that's million, that's not billion. And then for operating profit, the biggest still is Hybe at 47.8 million, 34.5 million for SM Entertainment, 38.3 million for JYP, and 11 for YG. Okay. Now for net profit, 11.6 for Hybe, 22.4 for SM Entertainment, but the biggest is JYP at 26.3 million. So they are the biggest gainer. Okay. So I mean the biggest in terms of net profit. As and I've mentioned before that they have always been very, very good in managing their money. JYP knows how to manage his money. So he's able to maximize the return of his investment. Okay, so I think um that okay. So what else do I have for news? This is if you've ever been to if you ever are going to California, you might want to pass I think this is Oxford and 6th. You'll find the building that SM Entertainment bought. They were supposed to convert this into an office for SM Entertainment. That hasn't happened. It has been just there for the last 10 years, I think. Okay, next. Can someone confirm if OT7 will make an appearance in the autumn fashion show for their respective ambassadorship? Wait for their announcement, I would say. Um, I think one of the things that I discussed in the previous live stream is that they're very picky in the events that they will be attending. So yeah. Olive Young is going to open their first US store in LA. How is that? So I'm very excited. First half of 2026. This is where I usually buy my lipstick. That's the only thing that I buy. So lipstick. So that's usually where I buy all of my lipsticks. So I love Olive Young. If you ever want to buy anything, let me know. I'll buy it for you and then I'll ship it. I'm sure they have online shipping. So I'm just looking forward to the opening of the store in 2026. Okay, so this is the last thing that I will be discussing for today. So this is the Twitter account, Touring Asia Pop, and they admitted that they are a fan account. And what they're essentially doing is trying to count the actual number of like the sales of the tickets of concerts of Asian acts, but they specifically concentrate on K-pop. So they haven't done any of the touring numbers of other Asian acts, mostly just K-pop. And so they got into hot waters because they insisted that the numbers released by Touring Pop, which is, as you know, one of the most established companies or accounts that release the numbers of concerts. So they said that Touring Pop and Billboard, they said Billboard Box Score, underreported the concert attendance of both Blackpink and Stray Kids. That's their claim. And so they went into a very detailed explanation on why they think that is. So specifically, they have screenshots saying that, look, this section is full. But in their report, it doesn't make sense if you do the total number. So I'll give you the most concrete example of the claim that they made. They said that according to Box Score, the total number of tickets sold for, I want to say Paris, that is of Stray Kids is 90,000 tickets sold. And they're claiming it's 120 or something like that. I may be not accurate in the numbers that I'm saying, but this is more to demonstrate what they are saying. So, um, for so they're saying that it is an under it they underreported it because they're claiming that in the first day Stray Kids sold 60,000 tickets. So if the total is 90,000 tickets, that means in the second day they only sold 30,000. And they said that that doesn't make sense. Okay. So that's one. And then second is that um for Blackpink they're saying both days are sold out, and that it is true that they sold 70,000 tickets in the first day. So now fans online started providing proof that their numbers don't make sense because there were sections that were blacked out. So they put a curtain. I'm sure that you're aware of how they do it. There were certain sections that they would black out, and also they screen cap the venue, and there are many blank spaces basically. So okay, so it's just for me, I'm not really as concerned of the what they're saying versus what as fans should be looking into. Let me just make it clear that I like Stray Kids and I feel that they deserve the kind of success that they are experiencing and more. They're hardworking guys, and let's give them their flowers, right? They are, if you compare them to other groups, they perform. If you see them on stage, they give it their best. You might not like the kind of music that they are putting out, but it doesn't change the fact that they're putting some effort, and if only for that they deserve the kind of success that they're experiencing. So that's one. Second is that whatever the fans are saying does not represent the group. The group are just really happy for whatever it is that they're getting, and they are hell bent on doing more, and that is a good thing, I would say. Okay, so that's just the most important thing. Pick on let's not pick on the group. Second is that for touring data and for box score Billboard, it does take time for them to release the number because they are waiting for the reports. The number one source of the report actually is the report from the agencies. So they wait for that. If the agency tells them it's sold out, then they'll probably report it's sold out. Doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that it is the report from, they are waiting for different reports. So they do take some time. So for example, for J Hope, it took them some time to release these numbers. Um, they have a Patreon account that if you follow, you'll be the first one to know when they release the numbers. But they just released this recently, and these are BMO numbers. These are North American numbers, and they just release it. So it does take time for them to do this. They verify sources, I would say. Okay, so those are the numbers of, and the others are still to be announced. To this day, they are still to be announced, even though it's done, right? Okay, so just that's just a sample that it does take time for them to report. Let's just remember that when people say that it's sold out because the entire section, you have people sitting in every chair. One, and I think this is the fundamental error of this Twitter account, is that they equated attendance to sold. It isn't. Just because a seat is occupied doesn't mean that person bought that ticket. It could be a guest and it could be a giveaway. And we know that there's an agency notorious for giving away tickets to these groups, right? So um so that's fundamental. So you kind of know that they're very new in this because they did not take that into consideration when they were counting the tickets, and they were primarily basing it on pictures, and they're saying it according to the picture that we got, it's, every seat is occupied. And then the other thing is that how do you know that that picture was really taken on that day? Whatever. Okay, but that's a fundamental error, that an occupied seat does not equate to a sold seat. Next is that venues announce a sold out, and we know this. We've seen this. SoFi have done it, and I'm not just talking about BTS. They've done it to several acts. They've done it for Beyonce. They've done it for BTS. They've done it for Twice. So they would usually say, "Okay, this ticket is sold out. This is sold out." Now, when they say sold out, if there is a resell, that's a sold out because they don't count resale. That has already been sold. It's just that it's being resold by the seller. So that is the first thing that you should look. Did the venue announce it? If the venue didn't announce it, yeah, no, that's probably most likely not sold out. And to think that the venue will take the word, for example, if I'm the agency and there are 1,000 tickets left, I can buy that, and the venue will still consider it a sold out. So if despite that margin of error, the venue still didn't announce it as sold out, that's probably not a sold out. Okay, next. The sold out is always BS. Next is, so this is a sample of the announcement of Wembley. So Wembley announced it. On this day in 2019, BTS tweet made history at Wembley as they performed two sold out shows. And they did it, as I've said, they did it for Beyonce, for Taylor Swift. They SoFi did it for Twice. They've done this many times. If they sell, they would announce it if it is a sold out. So that's the first thing that you should look at. Did the venue announce it? Now, this is the announcement they made for Blackpink. Tomorrow, Blackpink arrives. Blackpink Wembley tour deadline arrives, and book your final remaining tickets. So they still were trying to offload some tickets the day before. Okay, next. Touring data and box score are the most reliable, but they are not 100% accurate because, as I've said, they do take into consideration what the label says. If the label says it is 100%, they're probably going to take their word for it. So it is not 100%. It's just that they're the most reliable, but not 100% accurate. Outside of the venue announcement, um, other thing that you can actually look at is that so that's the reason the label can actually buy the tickets and resell them, and this has happened before. We know that, we've seen it happen. Okay, we've seen this happen, like just like that. All the tickets were gone, and we saw them in StubHub. Okay, so we've seen this happen. So if you want to see, and then there are some venues that will declare sold out once they sell 95% of the capacity or 93% of the capacity. So sold out does not 100%, that does not mean 100% sold. It just means that it is sold out according to their standards. So the mere fact that this account, Touring Asia, does not take that into account means they're kind of new in the game, and there are like these things, nuances like this, that they are still not aware about. I am not trying to demean or minimize their hard work. They seem to be working hard, but they still need several years to get into a point where they will reach credibility. Because if you don't know these things that are very common in the live industry, then there's still some work for you to do. Okay. Next is that so venue announcement and ticketing platform. So aside from the venue announcement, you can also look at the ticketing platform. Meaning, for example, if the ticket is being distributed in Ticketmaster, you just need to go to Ticketmaster and look at the sales if there are tickets left. This is a sold out concert. Oasis in Rose Bowl. Do you see any free tickets? That's a sold out, right? So this morning there were actually two being resold. So not even resells. They don't even have resells, except for those two that probably there's a medical emergency because it's so late and they're trying to let it go. And they're selling it for the same price. There is no markup. So you know it's probably some sort of an emergency. So look at that. Is there a free ticket? That's a sold out. So it doesn't matter if the venue announces it or not. It's very obvious that it is. And even if you go to StubHub or whatever, you'll probably find resales. But we're talking, but as I've mentioned, a resale has already been sold. Okay, so check the actual platform. And all these acts, if you go to the actual platform 6 hours before, they're still offloading the tickets, and there's still standard tickets left. Okay, Um, so, and also let's remember, because a lot of people are saying, oh, they actually, they did better than the last tour, the Love Yourself tour of BTS, which is kind of crazy to me, because Love Yourself tour was not a stadium tour; it was an arena tour. The the encore is the one that they did on stadiums. Map of the Soul was supposed to be the stadium tour, and that didn't happen because of the pandemic. So for people to be comparing their revenue, gross revenue in from a stadium tour of BTS back in 2018, that's kind of crazy, don't you think? if you think if you think that you are that's a brag, it isn't. It isn't. It's actually you're insulting yourself because you're comparing the revenue of a group back in 2018 from their arena tour to your stadium tour. Girl, you just give yourself have some shame. So you're not doing your group a favor. So let's be understanding of all of these things, and let's start treating BTS the way that they should be treated above everyone else. If you start competing against these people, they're just pulling you down. I've mentioned this so many times before. Do you think Beyonce will appreciate it if you compare her performance to the performance of Stray Kids? I love Stray Kids, but Beyonce, Taylor Swift, they're another level. And we have to start thinking and treating and talking about BTS that way. That you guys can go ahead and compete for the best this and best that. BTS is another level. So, and yes, adjust for inflation, please. If they earned, just for example, 200 million back in 2018, compute that. Inflation, adjust it to inflation this year, and that is your comparison. So, we are 2 hours and 20. I still have a lot of slides to go, actually, and several more topics, and that includes Bang Shiuk. Someone kept on asking about Bang Shiuk. I guess I'll do that in the next live stream because I've run out of time again because I keep on talking. I am very talkative. But do you have questions? BTS are global celebrities, period. Correct. Yeah. So start treating them differently. If we don't start it, if we go down to their level all the time, then they will keep on pulling and pulling BTS down. Leave them be. If they claim like they're the best K-pop act of all, then go ahead and claim that. If again, if you if you say that to Taylor Swift and Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar, do you think they'll care? Do you think they'll care that you're talking about? They won't care because they are another level. So the same thing, that's the same treatment as we should uh, give to BTS. They should be treated as a group that is outside of the K-pop bubble. If we don't start doing it, no one will. Okay. All right. So I'll do the other topics. Do you have before we go? Do you have other topics? So I'll just talk about Cordy. I know I have a lot. I still have Cordy's. I need to talk about Big Hit and Bang Shiuk, him attending the presidential inauguration. They call it the presidential appointment, and then several more things. A German chart. I'm sorry, I keep on talking. You should stop me. Like you should tell me, Fairly, you have 25 minutes. You've been talking about this for 25 minutes. Can you hurry up? Do that so that I can cover all topics. um, can we put BP on another as well? On another what? Maybe, what do you mean on another? Sorry, on another what? Are you limited to only 2 hours? What can you do to No, not really. I mean, I'm good. It's just that you guys, I'm sure it's late for a lot of you. So it's 6 almost 6:30 here. That means for some of you it's 9:30. So some of you will probably want to go get some rest um and sleep because many of you are in the East Coast. So if you don't talk, Debak might take over. Okay, so I'll cover all of that. I'll cover the German chart next time. I actually have more on the UK chart. I'll cover Bang Shiuk. I will cover Cortez next time. Also, I some okay. So for the members only, I was saying if you are a member of if you are a paying member of Patreon, there are some live streams that you still have access to. Just make sure, and you can participate in the discussion. Just make sure that you watch it on YouTube, the platform. Don't watch it on Patreon. The link is on Patreon, but watch it on YouTube. You just click the title and it's going to go to YouTube, and you should. So I will publish like what tier gets what on Patreon as well. And I'll put a video so you know what it is that you're getting. What else? Yeah, and then I will see you Wednesday. There's another live stream on Wednesday, and I will try to talk faster. What time is the membership YT YouTube posted and reconfirm the paid Patreon videos? I will post it. I will post all the details this tonight on Patreon. My understanding is that BP has only 19 songs now. That's amazing marketing. 19 songs. No, they have if you go core, if you do core, they have about 40. If you include all of the remixes and all of those stuff, that would be inversions and collaborations. They'll have about 100 songs, I think, if you include all of that. Okay. Fearlane, it didn't work for me. It didn't work for you? Hmm. It's 125 here. It should though. It should. You went to YouTube, right? If you go to YouTube, you should be able to you should be able to talk. Okay, I'll try it for myself. I'll do some experiments and see. I'll test, and then I'll see what's maybe I'm setting up something incorrectly or something. It didn't let me chat last week on YouTube, but I'll try the direct link you sent out. Maybe that, yes, that is what you should actually click. The link that I email and the link that I post on Patreon. Okay, so don't click the embedded video. That will not work. You have to click the link. All right. Thank you everybody. Thank you so much, and I'll see